You've got the French who are just saying, forget, we're just not, go away, U.S. You're not of any use anymore. You got Angela Merkel over in Germany saying, well, if it wasn't for our constitution limiting our military, we would probably be kicking you out right now because you're kind of useless. Poland, hey, you sold us down the river when you decided to give up a missile defense shield that you promised us. Ukraine, hey, I thought we were going to be part of NATO and, we're going to get all this kind of help and backage and backing and everything. And look, they invaded half our country. And now we're down in Syria and we're supposedly trying to help the rebels unseat a tyrant called Assad. We haven't done much to really help, except create the possibility of another power vacuum like in Iraq, and that gives Putin the in, oh, you know what, I'm going to go down there, and he takes the other side. And we do nothing. And then Putin starts bombing those people that we say are our allies, the rebels that we support, and we do nothing. So when the United States says, hey, you know what? We're going to ask that you deny Putin and Russia the ability to fly over your airspace. What do you think Bulgaria and Iraq is thinking about? Well, hell, what if we say no? What if Putin takes us on? The U.S. isn't going to back us up because they're looking at everywhere else on the planet and saying, oh, they're not doing anything over. You even got Taiwan over there that's shaking in their boots because they're not convinced anymore that if China wanted to overrun them, that the United States would stand in and help them take on China. They're not convinced anymore. I mean, you got the Japanese over in Okinawa that are saying, well, you know what? Hey, why are there still so many bases over here? Why? You guys aren't doing, you're not going to do anything if look what North Korea did to northern Japan when they fired. What did the U.S. do? Nothing. China did a few maneuvers over in the northern part, I guess, North China Sea, in the Pacific, Asia Pacific over there that incurred. There were some incursions in Japanese territory. What did the United States do? Nothing. So even a staunch ally like Japan is saying, well, why the hell are you here? You're not going to do anything. I mean, this rebuke of Iraq ignoring a request from the U.S. should wake up the Obama administration and should wake up the American people. Look, you're talking about, the liberals are always talking about, hey, if we elect Obama, everybody's going to love us again, right? Well, only if you agree to be friends with people that you agreed to be friends with, and you actually are a true friend, and you stand with them in their greatest need. I mean, hell, we don't even back our own people up. Benghazi, anybody? We leave our own people out there to die. And then when we try to get to the truth and find out exactly what happened, you got a bunch of liberals over there that are shouting, what difference does it make at this point? She told you everything she knows. And then we find out that she didn't. And then we find out that she actually lied. And we find out a whole bunch of stuff. Well, yeah, hey, that wasn't classified then. And we can't even hold people accountable in this country who let our own citizens hang out there to die. Do you think that somebody else in another country is going to stick their neck out thinking that as the sword is coming down to chop off, sever their head, that the United States is going to step in with their own sword and block the blow? No. Just saying, look, we have lost under this administration. Look, I was with Rush Limbaugh when I said I hope Obama's policies fail, and I really didn't want to see them fail at the detriment of people's. I didn't want him to turn this country into a socialistic type of nation. That's what I hope failed. But I hope that he would have had his act together enough to at least keep people from dying with his foreign policy. Yes, we were wrong. Well, no, we weren't wrong. We were right. We knew he was going to screw things up because he didn't know what the hell he was doing. But we were wrong to think that maybe, possibly, it would be okay. We could make it through. But it's 8 years of these countries, they're going through this administration like we are. By the time this is all over, this is going to be an 8-year nightmare for our allies. That is going to be their historical perspective. My God, it was 8 years of a nightmare. But that nightmare will only stop if we don't elect Hillary Clinton. That'll turn 8 years into 12 years overnight. And I would hate to see not only what this country will look like after 12 years of ultra-liberal, socialistic, idiotic rule, not only for this country. Well, one, it would be the end of this country as we know it, but not only for this country, but for the entire world. Now, some people can argue, well, the Europe, the West, NATO, they have only themselves to blame because they put so much dependence on the U.S. doing everything. And to some degree, they're absolutely correct. Those critics are absolutely correct. They needed to do more. Now, a few countries, pretty much, like Germany, like Japan, they were forced to have constitutional limits on their military. So there's only so much they can do. But other nations, they've depended on the United States for far too long, and we've let them. That is true. But at the same time, they were looking to the U.S. for leadership. Whenever you're the leader, you're the one that is supposed to be responsible. The United States, under Obama, has abandoned that world leadership. Putin is trying to fill some of that void. Xi over in China is filling that void in the East. And you got Britain, who's trying to rise up to fill that void, but they just don't have the wherewithal at this point. So countries, governments, people are wandering aimlessly because there's nobody in the West to lead them. We don't have that leadership anymore. Obama is not that leader. And let me tell you, under his administration, this country is just as hated, if not more hated, than under George W. Bush. And not only are we still hated at least as much, we're no longer feared. Now, I'm not talking about the fear where everybody, like the bully on the, bully comes around the block and everybody sees a bully and scatters. Not that kind of fear. Kind of fear that is also known as respect and understanding. Hey, you know what? You got to be careful because if you hit the U.S. or their buddies, they're going to hit you back hard. And if they hit you back hard, you might not survive. Hit them. Not anymore. They look around and say, U.S. is weak over here. Let's hit it. They might think, oh, no, that'll be too dangerous. Look what they did in Iraq. Yeah, but look what they did in Iraq. They're not doing anything now. over there, hit it. And they do, and we do nothing. They go have a beer and drink their vodka and say, see, told you. Oh, we get the victory. The U.S. does nothing. And you know, you got some people, well, why would Iraq ignore our request? Ignoring our request because they don't trust that we're going to be there for them. I don't blame them. Can't blame them one bit. Because the guy in the White House, he's too busy playing president. All the amenities that come along and perks that come along with the title and the job, instead of actually being president. You know, my mom once said, she says, "Oh man, you know, I was looking at pictures of we were looking at pictures of Barack, and how much he seems to have aged since being in the White House." So my mom said, "Look what they've done to that man." And he just aged so much. So look what they've done to him. Who's done to him? You know, the Congress, the people of the United States, or the rest of the world? And my mom looked at me. Look, all our presidents age rapidly. Those 4 or 8 years. They're in their 2 terms, 8 years. Oh, it takes a toll. Not an easy job. If you that's the problem with some of these guys. You know, you get some of these good-looking guys that are trying to run for office, and they're not so good-looking anymore after they leave, especially if they've been there for 2 terms, 8 years. It's hell. But hey, they want the job. They know it's going to be hard. But I told her, I said, when it comes to Barack, a lot of this aging that's on him is only due to him. Because there ain't no way in hell that you guys are going to tell me that you've backed every single thing that he's done. And of course my mom's like, no. By the way, my mom doesn't like Hillary Clinton. My mom is a woman. She was born a woman, or a girl. She's born a female. Not like Caitlyn Jenner. Else that my mom doesn't agree with. Hey, Caitlyn Jenner is getting the Woman of the Year of Bruce Jenner. Wasn't he once called Athlete of the Decade? He was Male Athlete of the Decade after winning the Olympics, I think, or something like that. So now Bruce Jenner, Male Athlete of the Year or Male Athlete of the Decade in the 70s, is now here in 2015 going to get a Woman of the Year award. I know that's a totally different topic and subject, and I'm not going to go over that again, but just think about that for a second. You got people buying Supreme Court judgeships down in Pennsylvania. You've got allies, supposed allies, ignoring our request to prevent a frenemy from flying over their territory. You've got other nations and other peoples and other nations who are cowering out of fear because of the enemy, because they know the United States is not doing anything. We've got allies and friends who've been attacked by frenemies, and we've done nothing. And the people over there, they're looking at the United States and they're scratching their head and they're wondering what the hell happened to that great nation. We still want to move there because of their freedom, but they're losing that too. And they're being flooded by a bunch of illegal immigrants. And now they want to bring over a bunch of, hey, we have all these refugees over here and you want to take some? And they're telling, well, that's probably not a good, the people of Europe are probably telling us it's probably not a good idea because we're having a hell of a time with them down over here, man. Not a good idea. And yet you still want to do it? You do that, nobody's going to want to come to your country. Hey, you want to get rid of the illegals from South America? Just bring over all those wonderful idiots from the Middle East, and you'll get rid of those illegals. But then you'll have a whole new problem. And you know what? Your buddies over here won't be around to help you.